Hey everyone, this is Faye from Faye's World Media. Thank you for joining me for day 16 of 30 Day Live. This is a challenge for me and something that I was always just wasn't sure it's something that I'm capable of doing. I feel like I could just easily run out of things to say, to do, but this is my natural office environment. A fellow YouTuber slash content entrepreneur encouraged me to do this, and Rob asked me that Faye, how come you never talk about your studio, your current setup? So in a social post I shared right before this, I realized, hello, Bob, so good to see you here. And so today I'm actually going to talk about my studio setup. I might end up running around. I think I have to get up to show you what I have, but to give you some context. So I've been working as a YouTuber, a podcaster, a content creator, really, I mean, different years. So YouTuber for 2 years, documentary filmmaker, really that one time in 2018. I'm really proud of it. And also, hello, Bob, and then podcasting since 2014. So there were a lot of gadgets and tools that we ended up using. And just to keep in mind that, I am not some sort of a multimillionaire. I didn't start off doing these things with all these tools and bells and whistles in place. A lot of that I had to learn on my own, just like everybody else. So with that said, it's going to be a little awkward for me to pull things into this frame. And so in some cases, I think it helps because I'm actually going live on multiple channels. So first, may even be helpful if I just stand up a little bit. So first and foremost, my camera setup. So let me show you a couple of things related to my camera. So number one is, you know what, why am I even using this as a sitting desk right now? It makes so much sense if I'm standing up for today's live stream. So here's my camera. When I started off with YouTube, I just used whatever I had my hands on, my iPhone, my iPad, but I upgraded to this camera. This is a Sony 6400 mirrorless camera, thanks to my producer Herman. I feel like I keep thanking him on these live streams. And all right, turn the camera. All right, if you have to insist, I will do that. I guess in certain part. So, all right. So I'm going to turn the camera for people who are watching on Instagram right now. So here's the camera, but it's not just a camera. As you can see here, there are a lot of different components. I'll explain real quick. So Sony 6400 is a really solid camera. I've had it for a long time. Thank you so much, Josh, for letting me know. And it's not super heavy. The body of the camera is about $1,000. The lens itself, which I'm using, this is a Sigma lens. It's Japanese. This is about $395, so $400 altogether, about $1,400. Now that is a lot cheaper than even 10, 20 years ago when you have to get this type of fancy camera. So I got that. The reason is a few things. It's solid and has this flip screen that I can use while sitting. I film most of the things on my own, so I need to be able to see myself. I can go on about this camera for a long time, but I try to cut to the chase of giving you the most helpful information. Now, here's a little magic. Here's something. It's a little awkward, but it's kind of fun at the same time to have this conversation, right? I got this camera because I don't want to record right into the camera itself. I wanted an external microphone for a variety of reasons. So I got this one. This is a Rode. Look how cute this is. This is a Rode mic. And all I have to do is use one of these little brackets and I just slide right on like this. And it just stays. I plug it right in. Now, still, if my camera is even, I don't know, 3 to 6 feet away from me during post-production, you actually see a slowdown where you actually see you can hear the quality of the sound isn't as ideal. So what happens is that I upgraded then to a Rode Go mic. This thing is really adorable and has two pieces. I'll show you. One that plugs into your camera. You can also use it for your phone or for your computer. This is one end. You turn it on and has a little clip that's really convenient for you to clip to any spots, your shirts, and it plugs into your camera, of course. And this is the other piece that I can easily clip onto my shirt like this. It's not the best looking thing, just like that, or the side of my shirt. If I step away from my camera real quick, or my mic. So just like that. I could also plug in a lav mic to this end right here and be able to travel with it. And I can even be up to, I think, 70, 80 feet away from the camera. You can still hear like the sound is still very high quality and intimate. So I just want to explain that this is a very basic setup. So next, I want to talk about right here. Yeah, Rode absolutely makes great mic. And then they're quite affordable, frankly. All these things that I purchased anywhere, under $100. I think the Rode mic was something like $150. You could get them possibly cheaper on eBay, but these are meant to be affordable and they do last for a very long time. And here's a tripod that I bought. And this one is from the brand called Magtrim. And by the way, I have a lot of these links in the descriptions below, wherever you're watching this. And yes, on one hand, you can actually buy a lot of tripods for not very much money at all, like as little as $20 on Amazon, but they tend to be a little wobbly. And when you have a more expensive camera on top, you're probably thinking, and heavier too, right? I mean, these things weigh just a lot more naturally than an iPhone or an iPad or mobile phones in general. So these are really helpful. I also like that it's kind of subtle change, but there's a little tilt angle that you can even just change the angle of these like that, and you're able to increase the height. I'm not a very big person. I'm only 5'4", but you can see that I can be standing up and still have this device to be eye level to me. So it's very helpful and it's sturdy, guys. Like this is well made. I purchased this one for I believe $60, and it is much cheaper than some of the other tripods. Can really go up to hundreds of dollars. So that one works really well. Let's see what else I would like to grab from I kind of designed today's live stream so for me to easily kind of grab and just like show you guys how I run my business here. All right, there are a lot of wires. I feel like I'm going to trip over something very soon. And we'll talk about some of the devices, microphones first, before we move on to more ergonomic setup of this office here. Let me grab a microphone real quick. So for those of you who are, I get asked this question a lot. Faye, what is the microphone that you're using? So you're looking at here, if you're watching on anywhere, everywhere except for Instagram, because I'm speaking right into my phone here. But this microphone is definitely an investment. It came with a super fancy case. It is a Newman microphone. Every time I talk to musicians and audio engineers, they always ask me right away because they realize just how good it sounds. And I also, before I brag, I want to make sure I'm actually using it. So yes, I am. And as I'm stepping away from it, the sound is probably still pretty good, but it's going to sound the best when I'm super close. And this thing here is called the pop filter, that for all the P's and all the spitting that's going on here, it just makes the sound a lot better, frankly. But you certainly do not have to buy this microphone right away if you're a YouTuber or a podcaster, or if you're presenting on Zoom. For me, it just makes so much sense. It increases the quality of my audio for this live stream right here, as well as my podcast. And also when I host those really large Zoom sessions in the past couple of years or so. I've had this mic. It is so underrated for years. And this is an Audio Technica ATR 2100 USB. A USB means you don't really have to use one of these weird looking cables that are also very heavy. There is a USB connection right here. You can plug into any computer or laptop. You can travel with it. And look at it. It looks so simple, yet the sound is very good. This is a dynamic mic. For those of you who are very into, what is it called? Yeti Blue mic. So Yeti microphones are condensed microphones, which means it kind of manipulates your voice slightly. You can actually hear it in the post-production. All right. Don Africa, you're using a BM800 mic. And how do you like it so far? I would love to know. And thank you for sharing. Yeah, I love to hear what you guys are using. And I stumble upon Audio Technica and really in love. This microphone right now is probably $90 or so. When I bought it was like 69, 70. I realized a lot of these devices price did increase, but it is solid. The only downside of this mic is that it's very, very directional, which means that if you are interviewing other people, you can't expect this mic to sit perfectly in the middle between you guys and have good sound quality. You have to point at yourself. You have to point at somebody else. So this is a very directional mic. I have purchased 6 of these. so that when I'm on the road, I'm able to record really high quality sound. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this in terms of microphone. One more thing I want to show you is that I use something called an audio interface. So I have to move one of the mics so you get to see what it looks like. So this is my messy desk. So that red thing right here, this is a Focusrite audio interface. And that is a game changer. You may be wondering why. And I'm not an audio engineer. I won't be able to explain all that to you. Basically, it's a piece of metal that you can travel with. An audio interface allows you to connect your microphone into the audio interface and then to your computer. And as a result, is that the sound is just so crisp and clear without the without the machine buzzing noise. I have like 4 of these 2 gigabytes, probably more. Yeah, 2 gig hard drives, 4 of them stacked up together. So every day as I'm working, sometimes it's like reading data or whatever, refreshing. I can hear the buzzing sound, but the audio interface is just wonderful on so many different levels. And so very good. So Don Africa says that it's really good to have the BM 800. You like it very much. Haven't found any problems. That's awesome. So speaking of, I talk about Zoom a lot, but this is a different brand. So this was a major purchase for me. This is a Zoom recorder. It has nothing to do with the Zoom.us, the company. So let me show you. It looks really fancy. And this is what it looks like on the inside right here. Okay, so what it does is I'm going to pull one out, and the microphone are at the top, so I'm not going to really let me just plug it in actually. So this to me was really interesting. I felt really fancy purchasing this, and I didn't want to. This was not cheap. And as you can see on the side, I have these connections that I can plug in up to 6 microphones. So when I'm on the road, for a few years, I was traveling to like the Boston theater district and started interviewing circus performers and a lot of like Broadway show actors, actresses. I just did that for a long time. And I wanted to make sure that I'm able to interview them on the road. So on one hand, I can go, hey, it's Faye from Face World Media. Here's a question. You go ahead and answer the question. I have to do this constantly. Now, if there are more people, I have to run around. So I want to mention this device really quickly. A lot of you guys probably won't need this, but if you do and you travel and you have multiple people to interview at all times, so you want to maybe throw 6 microphones, even 4 microphones out there, people can hold on to it and answer questions. This is a wonderful device, and it's a professional device a lot of the reporters will use. You probably have seen these during a football game, for instance. You see these reporters run into the field, and this is what they use to interview the players. So there is that. I want to talk about, I feel like I grabbed so many things, but I don't know exactly where everything falls. One moment. Okay, so here is more. Back to the camera for a second here. So I love these GoPros. I fell in love with this this little tiny little device, and this is the little bracket that you kind of put it into, and then you're able to hold on to a tripod. This is obviously is an iPhone holder or mobile phone holder, but you're able to basically put the GoPro on top of this little handheld device, little tripod, travel tripod, and it's great. And so and the reason why I want to show you guys is that this device, you can literally run with this GoPro and the sound quality is good. I've tried to record with GoPro in the busy, sort of busy theater location where outside with street sound, it still captures my voice pretty clearly as long as I'm relatively close to it. But the stabilization feature on this is just phenomenal, out of this world. Like I said, you can walk, you can run, you can, it changes this whole shaky cam into this very, very smooth transition. And it's just fantastic, as you can imagine, especially people with young kids too. When they go travel, they go vlog, and it's really, really helpful to have this little device. And I absolutely love it. Speaking of travel tripods, these things, and this is, I always have trouble saying this. This is the Manfrotto brand, and it's absolutely solid. I have a baby version of this as well. It's a little bit lighter depending on which purse I carry with me. When you're on the road, you just want everything to be super lightweight and sturdy once again, and this is great. Thanks to Ed Gregory from Photos in Colors, my director and friend from the Face Roll documentary, who showed me this, and it's absolutely great. Now, I will say that one of the things that I learned being the filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, even for a short while, is that staying organized is key. Like, I can do a whole other session on folder management, file naming conventions, best practices. I was a digital producer for over a decade. But I would say that these tiny little things, like how many times did you lose your memory cards or not be able to find them? And I haven't done a really good job labeling them. I haven't written anything on top, but my God, these, like, look at this like little passport holder almost. But this is called it's a memory card holder. I was so trying to be very minimalist, and I'm saying to myself, don't purchase anything if you don't have to, but I bought this from Amazon and I do not regret it. It just keeps everything really neatly organized. There's so many devices that have small parts, like everything from for GoPro is tiny, and I keep losing, the batteries and all these things, and they're not cheap to replace. So it's important to stay organized. All right, let's talk about, in terms of devices, my webcam. I don't want to remove it so much. I have been using this old school Logitech HD 1080p camera for a long time, but recently I upgraded to a Logitech Brio thanks to Mark Bowden. I interviewed him yesterday, who introduced two things to me, and it's game changing. One is a Logitech Brio. For those of you who don't have it, it is a 4K webcam, as you can see. Very sensitive to light. I've been live for 22 minutes now, not even realizing that I didn't turn on my ring light. So on that note, I'm going to show you guys why it's so helpful to have different ring lights. And let's see. So you guys can see this is one of the lights and this is the other one. And I will have to also move my Brio camera so you get to see the ring light here. I have them. Ooh, I just took something off. But that is the ring light. That's the ring light here. And then I have both from Elgato. I'll explain in a second. And this is the other one. And I get to control them through the simple app on my computer. Let me show you, which is this little control center. You see that so off, on, and then not only that, I'm able to change the temperature of each light. I can increase the intensity like that. This is the other one. You can see the huge difference, right? And that, by the way, I'm only turning it on like less than 10%. This is like 5%. I can change the color temperature. So this is, for instance, this is warmer, more orange, and this is more white. So I usually leave it somewhere in the middle. I prefer warmer light in general. Okay, so there is that. Now, finally, I have my plexicam. You may be wondering, like, what is this thing right here? The easiest way to demonstrate this is I have to hold on to another very heavy device. I can do this on any computer. So you see there's a little hook here. So the idea is that you're able to hook this thing onto any computer, laptop, so that your webcam is perfectly positioned. So instead of me looking up, into a webcam, or even worse, looking down on a webcam, all I have to do, check it out, is having this laptop right here, unhook it like that. And in this little tray, I can slide up or down. And this is called the plexicam. And I'm going to have, hopefully, the pleasure to interview one of the founders, Dan, as part of the 30-day live as well. So absolutely love it. There's going to be a future session on how to develop both digital and physical products. I'm a firm believer in that. Physical products are definitely more challenging, as you can imagine, because you have to just figure out like where to get the parts, where to source them, production costs, and all that stuff. But plexicam, I just keep dropping things as I'm going live, but that's okay. And once I'm done, I will be able to like organize everything. So what else should I Oh, I want to talk about ergonomic real quick. So this mouse I'm using here, like, here's the problem. I know I sound all like, I don't know, perky and happy, but there is a cost to being a computer worker, which most of us are these days. That's not a surprise, but you have to be really careful about taking care of self-care, taking care of your body, paying attention to it. And in terms of a mouse that works well for me, I would say this Anchor version, this is probably like $20, not more than 30. So my wrist is always upright, more or less. Actually, with I guess a either upright or like a 45-degree angle. And I try so many different computer mice, and this one works really good. It has a scrolling feature as well. And then I've had this little thing here from iMac Ergo beads. So they're beads inside. So when I rest my wrist on this little pad here, it kind of just moves with me and it's very gentle on my wrist. I also have something that I'm sliding around here, as you can see, and this is called Ergo Rest. And I'm able to basically, as I'm working, I'm resting my elbows on top, and it helps tremendously. And last but not least, I have things that I'm sitting on. My chair is already ergonomic, but in addition, this is a set that I purchased, and it's called Everlasting Comfort. It's a wonderful brand. It's one of those things where I just want to buy the first thing I see, anywhere. But after investigating the right memory foam and make sure it's breathe through, that this is just fantastic. It's not too thick either. I don't really like those one that are just too much, giving you too much height. It's kind of lifting you up from your chair. I don't really like those as much. Let's see. There's also a lumbar support as part of the package. So this is for my lower back. And as you can see, it is the same brand. It is fantastic. Okay. So here's a chair. And one more thing. If you're like me, oh my God, this thing is still dirty. So I won't showcase for too long. So there are different brands you can purchase. This is something I actually step on. So again, I'm only 5'4", so sometimes like I have to stand, sit down. It just helps for me to kind of put my feet somewhere. And this one looks like there's a Velcro. So if you want to change the height, that's also possible there. All right, there is that. And I will also remind people who do have standing desks at home, you might want to consider standing on something a little bit softer, or maybe the shoes you're wearing are not completely hard. So, all right, that leads to something even more fun, which is what's behind me. A lot of people are thinking about using green screens. And I think we've all done that. Trust me, I purchased the cheapest products for everything that you've seen. So I purchased the cheap camera, the cheap microphone, the cheap ring light, the very cheap backdrop. It's going to waste you a lot of time. And because here's what happens. You might not think about it. Whatever it's green, blue, white, if you're purchasing a piece of cloth, you have to iron it, and it's not helpful. And not only that, you have to put it away, you have to iron it, and gets wrinkled up. I also tried paper before, and that wasn't super helpful either because it's hard to put away. But check it out. This is also from Elgato, just like both of my lights. All you have to do is to pull it up like that, right? And it's just incredible. I had to do this so you get to see, like, it stands on its own. Again, it's very stable. The last thing I wanted to see happen is something falling over on me or backward during a live session. The only downside I would say with this particular green screen is it's not very wide. Now it's at an angle, so it looks even smaller. But in general, if you look at our video orientation or setup 16:9, usually you see the green screen come in about this much. And I have these sidebars I have to get rid of. So I did figure out something which is called a Reincubate Camel, which is an app that you can use. Camel, CAMO, Reincubate Camel. It is a free app that you can connect directly to your phone, and you're able to zoom in and out from Zoom or any apps that you're using, like Restream, like the one I'm using right now. So all right, with that said, the final things that I will say about having a really friendly, welcoming, and virtual environment is basically what I learned. I don't know, my nose always itches. My mom was like, asking me, why do you always touch your nose when you go live stream? And what I will say about your current environment is really make it you, make it authentic, and make it show your personality. Yesterday, when I interviewed Mark Bowden, he said so much about this. So please go back to the yesterday's episode, which is day 15 of a 30-day live. He talks about personality, he talks about like different angles. And let me lower this. So think twice if you believe that you should have a virtual background just because your office is maybe a little bit messy. Mess is not always a terrible thing. Actually, having a blurred background or purely a cold, very structured office setup, like Zoom background image, is not ideal because whether this is your colleague, your friend, your family, I don't know, but even your prospects and clients will not really know anything about you. So what you see behind me is these are my mom's paintings. She is Shang Li from Shang Li Art, and I absolutely adore her work. It shows my connection to her, my appreciation for her artwork. And people always ask me, like, what is this thing that moves around? This is a boom arm. I can tell them this is also from Rode. And, this is, as you can see, I'm serious about audio. That's how I invested in this thing. And you can look around the office. Those flowers are fake, but that gives texture and gives visual interest to your office. So I think those things are really important. Now, there are other things I like to talk about as I'm looking at around my desk is I have this roller. We were talking, I'm jumping around a bit, but in terms of ergonomic, these rollers are great. I mean, you can find them pretty much anywhere. It's called Relaxes Harmony Roller. So whenever I get a little bit sore, I just kind of roll around like into my shoulder blades. It's very, very helpful. And other things I have handy is maybe this part is me being Asian, I guess. I love these roll-on aromatherapy. I love eucalyptus. And I have these different brands I purchased. So whenever I feel a little bit tired, sleepy in between sessions, this is what I will do. And I love, once again, these ones. This is called Everyone Calm Roll On and has these little roller inside. So when I'm doing this, it's also kind of very, kind of massage is different. It just opens up all these knots, which is really annoying when you're working in front of the computer all the time. So little things, you inhale it. I mean, literally, jokes aside, when you're sitting in front of a computer and in Zoom meetings a lot for a long time, you do get very fatigued. And having that aroma, with you, it's actually really, really helpful. Lastly, I would say that I can't wait to demonstrate what these things are. So I mean, these are cheap. Once again, on Amazon, I know that I shouldn't be purchasing everything from Amazon, but there's so many options there. And again, when I saw that they're called a dry erase, what is it called? So you basically turn any wall, any flat surface into a writing board. I saw that there were so many commercials around these fancy brands. They're charging $200. You can look them up, right? You paint your wall for $200 for a tiny little square. And instead, these are clear dry erase paper. And these are clear because I realize that they could be white, number one, but if they're clear, then I can adapt to this environment that I'm in that has a little off-white, beige, and a slightly yellow, I guess just generally off-white color. And I'm going to just try it out and see how it works and turn a corner of my office into an ideation space where I get to write, explore, experiment. And I think that's just going to be super duper fun. All right. Hello, Frank B. Thank you for watching from LA. I really appreciate that. So, yeah. Okay. Wonderful. I think that's I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you actually enjoyed this during or after the live stream. And let me know if you have any questions for this live stream or any of the previous sessions. I'm here to help you out and show you guys that it is possible to be a content creator and creative entrepreneur. I'm really proud of it. I know if I can do it, so can you. So thanks for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow at the exact same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or noon PST. So that's it, guys. Goodbye, Instagram. And goodbye, everyone, everywhere else. Hope you enjoyed this.